Hi, so I'm going to share my experience going to both Animate in Kyoto and Book Off One. I was pretty surprised at the differences for them both being anime stores, so I'll get into that a little bit. Animate was founded in 1987 and it is a national chain. There are some all over Japan, with the largest being in Tokyo and the word Ikebukuro, and it was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for having kind of just like the most otaku stuff, most anime stuff, like collected together in Japan. So yeah, Animate is one of the most popular ones in Japan as well, just because of how many there are. Items are grouped based on what kind of anime they are. There is kind of one side of the store where it is mostly manga, and then the other part is merch. The merch is sectioned off by anime, so there's a section for Fairy Tail, there's a section for Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a section for Demon Slayer, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of easy to find what you're looking for. The stuff available as far as merch goes ranges from there's figurines, pins, there are, I picked this up at the Animate there, but yeah, there's pins. There is not much wearable merch, but that was more at Book Off, but at Animate there was just a lot of smaller kind of things that you could, like, shelf-sized things, I will say. And the one side of the store, like I said, was manga. It was divided by category of what the anime was or the manga was, and then there was the merchandise side. And near the back there was also a bit of cosplay stuff, but there really wasn't much of that. So if you're looking for more cosplay-esque stores as far as anime or manga go, that's definitely not the place I would be looking for. A lot of the signs whenever I was there were in Japanese, so that was a little bit hard to understand, like, where exactly I was looking. The Animate sign itself was in English, so I did know that I was at the right spot at least. But there was a tax-free options. The staff didn't know much English, so that was also a bit of a barrier. One thing about the Kyoto location was that in order to get there, you have to go upstairs, and that is the only way to access the store, so it is really not that accessible for people with disabilities. Like I said, there's no other way to get up there other than those stairs. It's kind of pushed into the back, like, as well, so you're not gonna stumble upon the place unless you know exactly what you're looking for and you have directions up. It was kind of hard for me to find even whenever I did have directions up, but the prices, they ranged. This pen that I got was around 600 yen, and it ranges up into, I would say, around 3,500 whenever you're going for more of the bigger things. But after I got done with Animate, I went to Book Off. That was my first time visiting there, and at first I honestly didn't even know I was at the right spot because the sign was in Japanese. No print there was in English. There was nothing that was telling me I was at the right spot until I started looking around and I was like, okay, this must be Book Off. But one thing I will say about Book Off is how they divided, just the building was a lot different than it was at Animate, and I actually preferred it, so I could find kind of more of what I was looking for. So how they divided it, there was like a big section for figurines, there was a big section for manga, and within those sections of like what the niche thing is you were looking for, then it was divided by what the show or the manga was that you were researching into. Like on one aisle there were figurines for, there's a whole Jujutsu Kaisen figurine section, but yeah, I was kind of just divided by item. There was a big section for t-shirts, there was a big section for keychains, so whatever the item was, that's where they were kind of grouped together. It was less so divided by show, and then there's a lot of different items for that show kind of stacked on top of each other. It was like, no, this is keychains, this is manga, this is t-shirts. I was able to pick up this shirt there. This shirt was around 3,000 yen, but yep, I did like how they had more wearable merch there, so it wasn't just kind of like taking up counter space essentially. But the year that Book Off was founded was 1991, and like I said, not many things were in English was the only downside of Book Off, but it was more accessible than Animate was because you could take the elevator up to, I think it was the 8th floor of one of these really big buildings in downtown Kyoto in order to get there. So a lot more people would be able to visit that than the Animate. I did like that about it. There was a bigger variety of goods. I feel like that would cater to a larger group of people because, like I said, it's not just shelf stuff. And the prices there were a bit more expensive, but I think that's just because they had bigger things to buy. And so the prices there ranged from around, I will say 900 yen to probably upwards to 7,000, 8,000 yen, but those were mostly for the bigger figurines or like hoodies. So yeah, overall, I think I would recommend Book Off over Animate. Even though it was my first time visiting it, I was pretty impressed, and it checked a lot of the boxes other than the fact that I wasn't really sure I was at the right spot, but you know, that's what Google translates for. Anyways, that is my vlog for the day. I had a good time going around and checking out places, so yeah.